Thanks everyone for joining us for another session of Weekend Events Symbiosis 5. And today we have Meet the Artist Younghae. So let's welcome her as I hand the time over. Yay! Okay, over to you, Younghae.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I just go right into it. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. Okay, so my name is Younghae. I'm a calligrapher. Actually, wait, I'll just go right into my slide. So let me share my presentation and then, okay, I think it's easier if I just share like this. Okay, can you guys see this okay? Okay, great. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. So the title of this, I guess, this sharing time is called In Remembrance. This is just one of the paintings I've done over the past like 9 months. So, okay, let me go. Mm, Okay, so before I begin, I know we usually save our thank yous to the end, but I really just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much to my Symbiosis group. This journey would not really be the same, without each of these wonderful people. And sorry, I'm trying to see how do I move my, okay. And so we had Randall, who is our mentor, and Dr. Nan from India, Juan from Peru, Arlene from US, and Dorothy from Singapore. So I just love just being able to connect like this from all parts of the world and with so much like different experiences and background to be able to just share in this journey together has been such a wonderful gift and honor. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much. Would not be here like presenting this without you guys. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. Okay, so a little bit about me. So my name is Younghae Chung. I would say I'm Korean American. I was born and raised in New York. So I put those little hearts on that map. So on the East Coast of US, my parents immigrated here right after they got married. And so growing up as like an immigrant child, I really got to see just how much my parents like persevere through difficult times, adjusting to a new culture, having to learn English as their, second language, and also to see my dad go through so many different trials and kind of like shifting things as a small business owner. And I'll kind of talk about my relationship with my dad later on. But I think just growing up with just immigrant parents have left such a big mark in my life. So when I think about like just words or phrases that kind of identify what I identify with, these are just some of the things that came to mind. So I'm a mom of three boys. So recent family pictures on the upper right corner from our time in Japan this summer. I have three boys. Jordan, who is starting high school, ninth grade, he's 14. Jacoby in middle school in sixth grade, and then Jude, who just started kindergarten. And so I have one in every kind of like life stage, I guess. So kinder, elementary, middle school, and high school. So it's kind of like a crazy season, but it's very chaotic, fun. It's sanctifying. It's really growing me as a parent, as my relationship with oops, as my relationship with them are evolving, and then I would say I am a calligraphy teacher. Most of my time is really spent in sharing just my love for calligraphy, helping to create resources and courses to help people feel confident in learning like traditional scripts. The next thing would be a small business owner. So I'm actually hitting 10 years since making my business official, which is a really big milestone for me. I just can't believe 10 years have passed by. It just seems like it went by in like a blink of an eye. But wearing that hat, obviously comes with a lot of just learning growth challenges, just roadblocks. I have no experience in taking any like business related courses in college or anything. So everything was really like self-taught, learning how to run a business. I don't think I'm a very strong business owner. I'm more of like a relational like person. So I'm still learning in this area of what it means to be a successful business owner. And last but not least, I'm a believer Christian. I grew up in the church with my parents as a small child, but it wasn't until college where that faith has become personal to me and really understanding the depths of what the cross means in my life and just how much, I've been saved by grace. Okay, so moving to the next. So this was kind of fun. So this is my calligraphy journey as a child, and I guess high school too. So when my parents sold their house in New York, they just sent over this whole box of like treasures that I didn't even know that they had saved. And so one of those things was my fourth grade memory book. And so one of the entries for that was so the upper left corner. It said my favorite hobby is drawing because it's fun drawing. I spend 30 minutes each day. I draw animals and pictures. It's fun drawing pictures. Drawing is my hobby. So, and then I have like this like little like art book. I guess like my parents also saved. I would fill those pages with like a lot of different drawings and making cards for my parents. So that photo, I thought, I mean that I love mommy, daddy. I thought was so cute. And then so I think I always kind of grew up enjoying like colors and drawing. In high school, I did take a photography class. Which I still remember because it was so fun going into the dark room, learning how to develop my own, film and learning how to take photos in different ways. I do think that it did help me. Even now, I feel like I really enjoy taking photos in general. So, okay, let's move forward. Okay, so fast forward to college. So this is kind of where I would say my calligraphy journey really began. I was a senior in college, and at that time, I had taken most of my, major courses for my what I needed to graduate, and so we were just trying to choose elective courses that were fun and easy. I think I did like a weightlifting class, and then one of my friends was like, "Oh, you should do a calligraphy class because I heard it's such an easy A." And so, of course, I was okay. I've never tried any art classes in college, so I signed up for some calligraphy class. I walk in and it was like an italic script. And it was the whole semester was learning the basics and working towards this final project. And so the upper photos, so that butterfly photo was like my final piece project. And I actually still remember going into the studio room and like learning italic script and having to write words in like the wind format. I kind of wish I did more of that expressive kind of calligraphy now, but looking back as I was working on this, I was reminded like, oh, like, this is actually really cool. Like, I'm so thankful, like, I had that experience. The left photo where it says love is patient and it says Timmy, as actually is like the name of my husband. And it says, God's love and love is kind. And then, the bottom right corner, it looks like husband, right? So it was such a funny story because, like, we started dating after college, but I guess I was practicing, during my second semester senior year. And so we laugh about it because he was like, "Were you just doodling my name and like daydreaming about like a future with me or something?" So I guess that's evidence now that I was like developing feelings. So we've been married now for about 17 years. So that was kind of my exposure. And then 2014, I was a mom of two boys. My boys were both under 5. So Jordan Jacoby, Jude wasn't born yet. And then I had moved recently from New York to Orlando, Florida. And I think that season was a really like difficult and dark season for me. Just going through a lot of marital stuff, parenting issues, just health issues with my kids. It was just like a perfect storm and it kind of brought me to a very dark season. And so moving to Orlando was kind of like a last resort to kind of hopefully experience some healing and restoration in our family. And so they put us actually into this mentorship program similar to this, where you're with like a group of like, I was with a group of like four women. I had a mentor. We met weekly. We shared. I had to go through counseling sessions. We were in this very safe community of like 70 people, I would say, with kids, just from different backgrounds too. So these families were from like missionaries from like all over the world. And so we were just together for 10 months during this time. And so for me, I think I was because I was like battling a lot of like these negative thoughts and just hopelessness. I remembered just looking around that like very dull and dark and rental like apartment that we were in and wanting to kind of like write out scripture um, just to bring more kind of like hope and like a truth into my life at that time. And so I Google searched like not K, I Google searched calligraphy class just because I remember taking that class in college and how much joy I had. And so this copperplate workshop advertisement came up, with Kay Hannah as the instructor. And then it was like a Saturday, Sunday weekend class. And I had no idea what copperplate was, but looking at the ad, I thought it was like really beautiful script. It was so delicate. I wanted to write words from the Bible like in like a very pretty way instead of my like scribble like handwriting. And so I signed up. My husband thankfully like sent me off. And that was like really a pivotal turning point, I think, in my whole like jump start to my journey. I really fell deeply in love with copperplate script. I was obsessed with practicing. And then, so my journey in like 2014, so from 2014 to like 2016-ish, I would say the first couple years, I just invested a lot of time into learning. And so whether it be driving out to LA to meet Michael Saul, and I met him at a pen show. He's the one that actually impacted me to change my grip from a straight holder to an oblique holder. Connecting with other calligraphers like through Instagram. Instagram back then was getting a little more traction in terms of like calligraphy and hand lettering, I would say. So there were just like a ton of people just sharing their beginner work and just wanting to find accountability and friends to practice with. So it was just a very fun season of learning. There was like Ink Academy that, I met even Arlene. We went up to Berkeley, kind of like North California. I would fly up there. So for my birthday, my husband would just buy me a ticket, a workshop ticket, and be like, this is my gift to you. Because he knew how life-giving it was for me learning calligraphy. And so I went up to Berkeley. I would like learn from Heather Held, actually. I took her classes, Michael Saul. I did Barbara Calzolari. I went to IMPath. So doing like pointed unshell or like doing things that like I normally like wouldn't know how to do, but just kind of exploring and trying to like just soak in whatever I could. So it was very fun years for me. So 2016 was when I officially started my business. So heading into that year, people were kind of, as I was sharing my work and as I was kind of like getting excited about this journey, people were asking me, "Can you teach me?" And so at first I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm even qualified to teach." But at the same time, I really loved sharing. I just naturally love to share, and like, especially it's easy to share what you love. And so I have a background in, doing a lot of seminars and teaching smaller groups. And so, I thought, maybe I could just put together some handouts and be able to, share it in a way that's fun and engaging. And so I actually like that whole workshop experience is what kind of jump started me to officially register as a business. So my mission, this is taken from my website, but my mission is to help keep penmanship alive, nurturing the next generation by passing down my love for calligraphy arts and offering resources to help others learn this timeless craft. I believe it is never too late to learn something new. I wrote this like many years ago, and I still believe in this so much because, calligraphy, especially like with this traditional scripts that I love, it is really timeless. I've been doing this now for like almost like 10 years, right? And so, um, I feel like the beauty of it, it only gets more beautiful. I don't know. It just doesn't, it's not like a fad or, a trend that just kind of goes away. I feel like, more and more people are actually getting interested in learning, these like scripts, and that makes me excited to see. And then I've had students now, after teaching for so long, I've had students who are like over 75 who join my classes, like so excited to learn and so excited to pick up a pen and try something different. And so my students have been super like inspiring to me to be able to realize that this like journey of learning should like never end, and that it's something that is life-giving no matter like what season or age you're at. And so the meaning of my business was actually given by my husband in bed while I was trying to make another Instagram like account for. So that logos calligraphy has been there since 2014. um, and so people kind of think, oh, is it like logo for like a business? But actually in Greek, it means the word. And so in John 1, it describes how in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. And I love like John 1, 4 to 5, because it says, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and darkness has not overcome it. And so for me, as I think back on my journey of calligraphy, and just in the season that I was in, it really was kind of like the light that was shining for me in the season of darkness. Um, and so I think I started the business kind of with the hopes that as I share, okay, let's together. As I share and teach calligraphy, that it can also become that light and encouragement to others who may need that in their life and journey. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so these are just some photos of just over the years what I'm engaged in. So 2017. My first exposure to teaching online was actually 2016 through Modern Calligraphy Summit. And that really opened my eyes to see the beauty of teaching online and connecting with people, because, people would leave comments about how they want to learn, but they don't have a local instructor. And so for me, it just made sense. Why don't we just put together something online so that, they don't feel like they have to travel and spend all this money to, carve out all this time in their schedule. And so it literally was my first course, was out of my home, just hiring just different videographers and just putting myself out there to see if there was interest. And so the amount of students that signed up was really like mind-blowing to me that year. It was so evident that people were hungry to learn calligraphy and that they saw value in learning how to write and learn, and just what for whatever reason. It wasn't even just about people wanting to do it for business, but like people wanted to learn for just their own healing or their therapy, or wanting to create for their grandchildren. There were so many stories, that I've heard over those years. But so that's kind of how I started. So I've been teaching online since 2016. And then I love teaching cursive. So I got certified for cursive with Marie. And so, having three kids and seeing just like the education system and how they don't value penmanship as they used to. Obviously as a mom, like as a calligraphy mom too, it's like I want my kids to have beautiful penmanship. And so, I just kind of like really wanted to commit to, passing down my love for beautiful writing. And so teaching cursive to kids and making cursive workbooks, things like that were things that I wanted to invest my time to. And then after school classes. So, I started offering some after school like calligraphy classes. And so it's really exciting to see kids even be able to learn pointed pen calligraphy at as young as fifth grade. So having taught from fifth to eighth grade, they can really get a handle on, learning this script, and they've enjoyed it so much too. So that was really exciting. And then, the bottom three are just some of the courses that I offer. So right now I do offer three: Spencerian, Copperplate, and Flourishing. And so it's been just like a wonderful privilege, honor to be able to, teach and offer these courses. I truly enjoy being able to, share in this way. And I knew early on, I tried weddings. It was just not where I wanted to invest my time. So I do it for friends, but right now, this is my main focus. Um, These are some classes. As much as I do love online, I also value in-person learning. So back in the day, 2016, I rented a space from Jenna Rainey, and she was in Costa Mesa at the time. It was like out of like a garage studio, and at the time we didn't have high-tech stuff like document cameras. So I would just write on, a paper and a pen. And then I would start to just offer classes every time I had to go back home to New Jersey. So 2019 was that. And then partnering up with local stationery shops like N Lovewell, also local here, Santa Ana. So that was 2020. And just various times whenever, our family, we love traveling too. So every time I would go to different places, I would just offer classes to connect with even online students. So fun fact is that one of the students, in my Hawaii class actually came to my Japan class this past summer. She actually moved from Hawaii to Japan and then she was able to join my class again. So stuff like that is like having that connection and relationship with students over the years has been like really special. Okay. Another big, I guess, milestone in my journey has been publishing my first book. So, my book is called Classic Calligraphy for Beginners. So, it started in 2020 when the publisher reached out to me, but 2022 was when it officially launched. These are just kind of like the party photos where we really celebrated with the help of White Blossom events. Amy was amazing at just kind of bringing my vision to light. It was a beautiful space, beautiful decor, just like, asking my friends who were baking to like contribute, like connecting with people in person. This was like, let's see, this is right before pandemic, right? Am I getting my dates right? No, 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 after. Right? Okay. So it was just really great to be in person again and be able to connect. This book is specializing in sharing about copperplate and Spencerian, which are the two scripts that I really love and enjoy teaching. So basically, it comes back to this encouragement of it's never too late to learn something new. My desire, as a calligraphy teacher, as a business owner, or whatever, my whole life is about just inspiring others to try learning something new. And that's something that I really want to also preach to myself, not to be comfortable with the scripts that I'm familiar with. But I think this whole journey of symbiosis have also taught me to challenge myself to go beyond my comfort zone and to do something that is different. Okay, so these are my parents. So I named, again, going back to the theme of symbiosis is in remembrance. I really wanted to dedicate this journey to my parents. So just how Dorothy has been persistent, I did kind of put in her messages here. My parents are just beloved parents. We grew up in New York. They actually moved out to California to be closer to us. My mom was diagnosed with uterine cancer about 8, 9 years ago. And so I think as she was kind of progressing through and needing more like support and needing more treatment, they decided to actually come move out here end of 2022. But then early 2023, like around Valentine's Day, my dad all of a sudden got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And so it's kind of like a shock to our family because this whole time, we were really like focusing on supporting my mom and being there for her. And then I always thought my dad, it was like the strong pillar, like he'll never get sick, he'll never crumble. Like we need my dad, to be there for my mom. And so when he suddenly got diagnosed, and so basically we had about a year with him before he passed last year. And so Dorothy messages me through Instagram, like at the end of last year, saying, I've been thinking, wondering if you might find it helpful to have a space for yourself to heal and nourish your soul through art. And this is where she was kind of sharing with me about symbiosis. And I didn't really know much about it. I've seen it on Instagram here and there, but I just didn't have time to really invest into watching the videos or participating. So I was kind of like, and that season was actually really crazy because after my dad passed, my mom also had a very major surgery going in and out of nursing homes. So I really had to help my mom through that season. And she started hospice care at the beginning of December. And so when Dorothy had messaged me, I was already in such a very overwhelmed season where I don't even think I could think about creating anything. And so I kindly declined and was like, I don't think this is the right time. Maybe in the future, if you're willing to have me again, please reach out. But then shortly after she messaged me, my mom passed January 12th. And so, of course, like that again was just a lot to process through. Um, and then Dorothy messaged me again, like a couple of weeks after. And she said, perhaps you can create a creation of memories about your parents and might be helpful to process your grief. I just want to offer you community of a mentor and fellow mentees for art making to nourish your soul. I don't know. God really used Dorothy in that season to kind of make me think again about whether I should do this, even though every part of me felt like I didn't want to. So she was sending me all of these like testimonials and like people who've done it before, like people who have struggled in the same way. And then she said, I think I have a person in mind for you. His name is Randall, and I think he would be the good mentor for you. So then I went through this rabbit hole of researching Randall's work. And let me just say that his work just moved my heart. And so, I just screenshotted these from his website. Sorry, I didn't ask your permission to share this in my presentation. But I just really felt like, wow, like looking at his art is just like another level and dimension. I mean, my work will be like elementary level, and then like this work would be like PhD level. I just didn't understand how you can just come up with these designs or like just really evoke a lot of these emotions that I kind of wanted to strive to be, but I just didn't know how to. Other works that I was just really captivated by his pieces was being able to communicate, God's word in such a powerful way through painting, through just colors and the way that he does his lettering. I don't know, there's just so much I felt like I could learn. And so that's when I told Dorothy, okay, like I'm willing to just take a step of faith and you know, um, trust in the process. So before I go into, I guess, the process, Dorothy, am I okay with time? Okay, I think
Yeah, you're good. It's good. It's
okay.
good.
Okay. So I did want to share a little bit about my parents, so it kind of gives you an idea before I go into like the piece. So in remembrance of my dad, so the top left photo is like when they immigrated to the U.S. So him and my mom at the airport saying bye to all their family, what they know. He came, he got like an MBA degree at St. John's University. He started his own business called Meditech Group. He just had these ideas to kind of connect US market to Korea and just really I watched him go to these trade shows and like box up all these shipments from his small office. I would help him, with all these like packaging tapes that I still do today in my job. But just it was just such a amazing thing to witness as a child. And then also as an adult, after I started my business, we would just like FaceTime each other, and talk about business, talk about just everything. He would just kind of be like this gentle spirit in my life. A huge encourager, just always telling me, even though I felt like I was failing, he would always say, you are doing such a great job. You can do it. Don't worry about anything. And even during hospice and when he was diagnosed, it was such a shock to me. And I was filled with so much anger and confusion. But like, he really like accepted it with a lot of peace. It was kind of like something I didn't really understand. Oh, something I didn't understand because I just felt like, if I was in his shoes and I was still working and I had like excitement for the future, you know, had young grandchildren. It's just not time yet. But then it reminded me of Isaiah 26. Oh, sorry. um, it says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." So I felt like my dad had a lot of peace that really goes beyond my understanding or logic because he really like trusted in like God and like where he was going. He just had just like incredible peace in knowing that like, you know, he'll be okay. And I was like the worst daughter, like asking him like, "Are you really okay? Like, how are you feeling?" and things like that. But after he passed, as I was going through his stuff, I found all these like journals that he had written that I didn't know he was writing journals. But this journal entry was from like many years ago, like from like more than 25 years ago. And he would just journal his thoughts and just kind of, and I just kind of realized that through his journal entries, I got to understand my dad deeper and like, this is why he is who he is. Because he was so grounded, not only in his faith, but like just in his mind, just knowing who he is, what his value is, and what he wanted to do with his life. So my mom, this is my mom. She, I would say, is like a warrior. She's so strong. I think because she grew up in a very like broken family and her parents divorced her, she was raised by not her parents, but like I think her mom's sister. And so she came to America just kind of without any ties. They both did. And so, but she really resembles for me resilience, strength. And I think like the 8 years that we had, seeing my mom journey through sickness and cancer in and out of hospitals and kind of that really helped me to learn a lot about, how to handle like, trials. And one of the things that her words really like sticks to me. Like one of the things, some things that she said was, cancer is a kind gift. It gives us time to say goodbye to our loved ones. Um, and for me, I never saw cancer as like a kind gift. I would see it more as like a curse or like, a horrible thing to do or go through. But, as I've watched her journey through it for 8 years, I do see how it is a gift. It's a gift to me as her daughter. It's a gift to herself because I've seen her change so much, her heal so much through that season. Her perspective has changed, my perspective has changed. And so in a way, I do agree now that it is there's so many ways that people can pass and face death, but I'm so grateful that it's given our family just time with my mom. And one of the things that really stuck to me was that when I was visiting her in 2022, I saw that she was writing out like scripture in English, and she had this whole exemplar of cursive like on her art desk. And when I asked her, I was like, "Why do you write in English? Like this is your second language. How come you don't write in Korean?" And she was like, "I want to learn English. I want to learn how to write cursive because it's faster and it helps me to remember as well as learn." And so I just thought it was amazing that even in her life stage, in her sickness, she still had the like desire to learn something and to write out scripture as like she called it like her lifeline through this time. And so my mom was super creative. She loved writing. She learned calligraphy even for a couple years. So the left one is it's like always be grateful. Always be praying, give thanks in all circumstances. And so she would practice, at home. And I still have actually a lot of it's in a big bin right now, her calligraphy practice sheets. But whether it be writing, whether it be through knitting, she knitted me like a blanket for, I think, in college, whether it be through her cooking, I think she saw everything as art. She wanted to really make everything, just do it well, like with her whole heart. And so that is something I'm continually inspired by as I look at my mom's life. So heading into Symbiosis, my thought process was, okay, like I want to incorporate nature because my parents love being in nature. They love hiking. I definitely want to write Psalm 23 because that was their favorite passage. It was a passage that we've read together many times. It's a passage that we incorporate into their memorial services. I was thinking about maybe how do I incorporate their journal entries? I have fingerprints. I wanted to kind of communicate like my memory with them so that every time I see it, it would take me back to a specific time. So those are just kind of like my initial thoughts heading into this symbiosis journey. Um, so then in the beginning, I, haven't watercolor painted in very long time. But I just, wanted to go into this with like a just start mentality. And so I found some old Pentalic Aqua journal books that I think I got back in 2016 when I went to IMPath. I took some sort of sketching workshop there. And so the middle photos are actually from 2017 or 2016, where I would just go to places, sit down, paint and sketch and write. I had a lot of those journals like unfinished. So then I just took it and then I looked through a lot of the photos that I had transferred to my phone from my mom's phone. And so that left one was just the first time me just kind of looking at my dad after it's been a while since I've just sit with like the photos and painted, but I did that. And then the right photo was just trying something different. So then Randall was so gracious to just share his Versal's presentation. So that was just like something that I was thinking about. Should I try something different in this piece or maybe just let's just have fun with it like that night, that day. So that was actually really fun just to kind of look at something. I didn't really go through all the lessons, but I was just looking at the exemplar and just trying to play with it, playing with watercolor, acrylic, pencil, brush pens, color pencil. It was just whatever I had at my house. I didn't want to buy anything new. I just wanted to use all the materials I had already in my house. Um, so I started with a smaller watercolor paper size. So I cut down the Canson XL watercolor paper to 5 by 7. And again, I wanted to use like photo references for these paintings just because it, for me, means a lot to kind of bring me back to that time. But these pictures were photos taken by my mom of my dad because they went on this kind of long trip together to explore like the whole coastal area of California. Um, so this one it was just for me just to paint and try to learn how to do these landscapes and like water and clouds. I have no formal like training in painting. So this is just, me just kind of experimenting and just seeing how the water works with paper and try to mimic whatever I see in the photo onto the paper. Um, the next stage was just about layouts. So this is where I was just confused about. I knew I wanted to combine some sort of painting with my calligraphy, but I just didn't know what that would look like. So whether it be should I center it, left align, staggered, how big should the text be? Should I just digitize it? But I remember Arlene was saying, no, you should actually write directly on it. I think you won't regret it. I still remember that because I was trying to like take the easy route out and be like, oh, let's just digitize so I can like make it all perfect and be, I can always like, edit things, right? When you digitize it. But, I think her words really did stick to me and I wanted to have like the original, writing during this time, like on the paper. But it did help to work with Illustrator to be able to play around with things. And one of the things that Randall also said was when you look at the middle one, it looks like the calligraphy is just kind of like placed on top of this painting just because there was no thought to it or like, and that was true. Like I had no idea how to do it. So I was just trying to like put the calligraphy and make it fit somehow. But he did encourage me to kind of see it more like cohesive. And so I started playing around with maybe I need to shrink it more so that the clouds will be more accentuated. Maybe I need to make it left aligned, or I don't know. It just really helped me to see, you know what, I don't have to make calligraphy so big and like make that to be the center. If I want to, evoke that emotion, maybe it's better to make the calligraphy smaller so that the painting can be, evoking those emotions. And so that really helped me to kind of see letters and painting in a new way. So, so grateful for that. But in the end, I actually didn't want to split up the Psalm 23 into two different pieces here. I knew I wanted to also not cut out like certain verses. I wanted the whole verse, the whole passage. So I knew I had to, if I wanted to write directly on it, like Arlene suggested, and I wanted to, um, fit it all in one piece, I needed to paint bigger. So this is why I went from 5 by 7 to 11 by 16. And so you can kind of see the scale on the right side. Um, this is really out of my comfort zone. I've never painted to this scale. I think the biggest I've painted was through those Pentelic journals, or I just like painting smaller. It makes me feel like I have better control. The bigger pieces, I was forcing myself to use more water, but then with more water, you have to use more pigment. With more pigment, you have to learn how to like blend it better, and then you have to learn how to lift it or add color or learn how to like wait between like the layering. And so that whole process for me was definitely like a growth process, overcoming my fears, hesitations, just really trying to let go of perfection and trying to focus on, why I'm doing this. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to try to make this to, present it anywhere except to you guys, right? And then it's just a memorial piece for me. So just letting go of that perfection helped me to kind of break free from my fears and just go for it. So that was fun. But there were challenges. I think, oh, this photo, I wasn't sure if to include it, but just to share, it was very emotionally challenging for me. I think because it revolved around looking at photos of my parents, thinking about memories or like their words, or having to sit with like just facing the loss again and again every time. There were times I would just cry and then just not want to touch it again, or like wanting to avoid things or wanting to put it away, and then like not having to face through those emotions. But I'm reminded that, grieving is a gift because it means that I've been deeply loved, and missing people means that, there were memories that I'm cherishing. And so I've kind of evolved in terms of trying not running away from grief, but having to embrace it with gratitude. Another challenge was just feeling like unsatisfied or like lacking confidence with like mixing watercolor with calligraphy, because again, I don't have any training background with watercolor. So asking myself questions like, is my work worthy enough to share? Like, do I know enough techniques or experiences with working with different materials? But again, it kind of like bringing it back to, why am I even in this journey to begin with? Who am I creating for? What is my purpose here? It really helped me to push through. So it kind of led me, all of those thoughts led me to this, which is 2022 Channel Island. This is the last time, and a first time actually in a long time, where all four of us, me, my sister, my parents, only the four of us went on this overnight trip. It was my sister's 40th birthday, and my parents requested, and I think they wanted just the four of us. And so we went and took a boat out to this island. And this Channel Island is actually not too far from my house, but you have to take a boat and it's just all nature. It's not commercialized. You have to, whatever trash you bring in, you have to bring it out. You can camp there, but they really want to preserve the natural beauties of what's there. And so my parents, being such lovers of nature and wanting to hike, and be in God's like beauty and creation. This was such a like a very vibrant memory for me, taking videos of my mom just really glowing and just so happy to be with us, with just her family, and with my dad and being in nature. So we even took a nap when we got, you can like walk around the whole island in a day. But when we got to the top, we all like laid down in benches and took like a good nap together. And it was just, I still have like so many vivid memories there. So I knew, rather than using the photos from before where my mom and my dad had that, their alone adventures together, I decided to paint from this photo, the big photo here on the right side, because that included me in the memory. And so that fresh start for me, just having a different memory and pivoting to that, kind of helped me to build that momentum. And so that's how the painting kind of came to be. I used that photo because I remember my dad just taking photos of my mom and just being so happy, and like them. We got up there, we were all blown away by just how beautiful it was from that viewpoint. Um, so it was just very calming to be by the waters and also be by the greens and the mountains. So that's kind of how I chose my background. And then again in Illustrator, I kind of laid out my calligraphy. This font is England hand, but it just helped me to see how I want to stagger my lettering. And so what I do is I use a copperplate graph pad to sketch out my design with pencil first to make sure it's exactly where I want it. And then the next photo is like me writing, inking it directly onto the paper using a light box. So after I do the pencil sketch, I go over it with like a marker that's dark enough so that it will shine through the light pad. And then the last photo is just the finished piece. So here is the finished piece. This is the 11 by 16 piece. I made the Lord is my shepherd a little bigger because I really feel like my parents both loved just how that's why they have peace, right? And knowing that like God is their shepherd, that he will lead them to green pastures, he will lead them to quiet waters, he will restore their soul, and that they will dwell in the house of the Lord forever in the end. And so I actually did go over the Lord is my shepherd in like metallic gray ink. It's hard to capture in photos, but just to really try to emphasize, accentuate that piece. Um, so those are just some details. So the journey continues. I know the symbiosis journey has come to an end, but for me, this has really helped me to do a lot of reflecting on me as a person, just what I want to focus on, or like how I want to spend the next like 10 years. I am a traditional calligrapher. I like naturally love and gravitate towards structure. I love breaking things down for others to learn the traditional scripts, but I do want to develop as like an artist to be able to be more expressive, like Randall, to be able to create art and paint. And there's just so much I feel like I'm lacking in or I want to develop in. And so I'm sharing these photos here because they're actually of my dad's side of the family. So my great uncle is Kangam Song which is so his pen name is Kangam, last name is Song, so my maiden name is Song. It's my dad's father's brother. And so my dad is so tightly knit with his family in Korea. He always went back every year to like meet up with his relatives and treat them out. And so that great uncle, he has like a museum in Jeonju, and he lived his whole life just dedicated to calligraphy and preserving calligraphy. And you can tell that that passion passed down to his two sons. He has two sons, Song Ha-kyung and Song Ha-jin. So Song Ha-kyung I actually met, and so this is part of my book, but I met him in 2018. I got to visit his studio. He's a professor, calligrapher, but at that time, he actually encouraged me, okay, I see you are a good calligrapher. You know how to write nice letters, perfect forms or whatever. But he was like, but like, how are you making it like your own? Like, what are you going to do with it? And actually, like my great uncle, he created his own script style. And And then the one in the middle, the one that's painting on pottery. So he recently did like an exhibition, Song Ha-jin. He was in politics, served as a governor for some time, but now he did his own exhibition in Korea. And his whole, I think, passion now is to use Hangul, which is like the Korean alphabets, but use it not the traditional ways to write it like vertical, but he wanted to write it horizontal. He wanted to be very expressive with his letters and be able to write it on pottery. And like he really is so artistic. And he sent me all these photos and we kind of like keep in touch through Kakao messaging. But I haven't gotten a chance to actually visit him this past summer, but I'm hoping to kind of reconnect with him again when I go back to Korea. But I think like looking at my dad's like, side of the family and coming from this like, calligraphy, historical background, it is inspiring to me. And I kind of wonder, like, am I being too comfortable with what I know, what I love? Or can I really like stretch myself to become an artist that is not just about, copperplate, spin Syrian. Like, I don't want that to just be defining me, but I want to learn now how to paint or like learn how to be more looser with my letters and scripts. So in closing, I just want to thank again just our wonderful group. I love like our casual chat conversations. For Dorothy for encouraging and spurring me on. I think I'm continually like inspired as I have watched them walk through their journey, and I'm sure they will share in their own Meet the Artist sessions. But I love that we can kind of inspire each other and get ideas from each other and kind of encourage each other on. I'm so thankful for my parents. Though they're not here with me physically, I continually sense their presence, and every word, every memory, the time that I've spent with them has not been, I don't regret it at all. I know I had to take a step back from business for the past 2 years. And even this year, it's been hard to get kind of like back into full throttle of things, but I am so grateful for that time, the time spent with them to kind of shaped me to become a better mom, hopefully a better mom, a better wife, a better artist. So thankful for them modeling what it means to work hard and to be found faithful to the things unseen. What goes on behind closed doors is so much of value than what we do in the public eye. And last but not least, so thankful to God for sustaining me through such a difficult season. Where I think I could have fallen into a lot of despair and hopelessness just because the shock of it all. But so grateful that his word and kindness has carried me to this point. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for being here. I guess I'll hand it back to Dorothy. I don't know.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a beautiful presentation. And I think a lot of us are, ah, yeah, we feel, we have you in our heart. And thank you for sharing, really. I don't know, sometimes I wonder whether I do question myself, like, was it too soon to ask you to jump in? But I did feel that this was the right time. So I'm just very thankful that you did it. I'm gonna spotlight Randall because we want to hear from him and also your team. There is Arlene. Randall, go ahead. You are muted. No? Okay, can we let you figure it out while I spotlight Arlene? Because I know she wants to say something. And also Nan.
Yeah, Younghae, oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing your heart and for really just being such an encouragement. It's been so interesting as we've had similarities in some of what we've done and the past that we've experienced, but you've been such an encouragement to me, and I'm so grateful for your friendship. And you did a beautiful job. I've really been proud of watching you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. So good job.
Yay. Yes. And you back,
Younghae,
Randall. Oh, go ahead, Nan.
Randall, we still can't hear you, but we can see your mouth moving.
All right, how about now?
Okay, yeah, now it's good. Now it's great.
So I took some notes. um, just some thoughts as you were going through this, Younghae. It's thank you. A lot of the stuff I didn't know. One of the things that strikes me is there are certain people that you come across, and I think there's many people in this Symbiosis edition that sometimes you just need a nudge. Sometimes you just need an idea. It's not about learning technique. It's about, sometimes it's being given permission to go forward. And one of the things that I sort of marvel at is how Dorothy listens. Dorothy is really good at matching people up, don't you think? She's and I think that comes from listening spiritually. I think that comes from seeing and listening, and I think that she understands or has some understanding of your grief based on some of the things that she's gone through, some of the trials she's gone through in her life. But what really strikes me is that as you have gone through this process, a lot of it's for you, but a lot of it's for people you haven't met yet. I think. I think you're going to be pretty significant in people's lives who will go through the same thing and need somebody that understands, and then there you are. You'll be there. So I'm it's really a privilege with each and every one of the people in our group to be able to witness this journey that you all have taken. The fact that you took a particular passage, poem from scripture. It happens to be the same as somebody else worked on in this group, and yet both of you have done different treatments of that. It's wonderful to see the difference between those two. And so I think that this thought about cancer as a gift really it's going to be a gift for somebody else, somebody that you haven't met yet. And I really believe that. I think you'll come back to this conversation and go, oh yeah, that's right. So just thank you for your vulnerability, getting through the presentation without bawling the whole time. Good job. But yeah, no, I think it's been really special to watch. And one of the other things is that I think we have Arlene, I'm going to guess, to thank for this, is that you guys also formed is it WhatsApp? Was it WhatsApp, Arlene? That you guys were also able to form that and really be a support for each other. And I just think that whole thing, again, Dorothy putting this whole thing together as a structure and then seeing each person and matching them up with the individuals. I just think it's been a gift for everybody. So thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Younghae, for that presentation. And yeah, I didn't see that last piece, and really beautiful job. It's something to treasure.
Thank you.
Beautiful job, Younghae. Thank you so much for sharing these deeply emotional thoughts and feelings with us and sharing about your family. Your work is really touching, and I'm sure it's touched everyone here today. It's been so great going with you through this journey.
I need a help from Lisette, please.
I'm here, Gargo. I'll try my best.
Yo quiero agradecerle a Younghae por esa presentación. Creo que ha sido una presentación muy sentida, y quiero resaltar sobre todo el proceso que ella ha pasado, el
Dame, dame un
proceso creativo que ha
momentito.
tenido. Ujú.
Dame un momentito. Gargu wants to thank you, Younghae, for the presentation you've done, very deeply and moving. Sigue, Gargu.
Y quiero resaltar el proceso creativo que ha tenido, sobre todo.
Now, he wants to lighten your creative process.
Desde el descubrimiento de las cartas que guardaron sus padres hasta la pieza final.
From the letters of your parents you found till the end of your final piece.
Sí, una, una pérdida como la que tú has tenido no se supera fácilmente.
It's very difficult to go through this process of losing someone.
Pero se aprende a vivir con ella.
You learn to live with it.
Y en eso estamos un poco todos juntos, ¿no?
We're all together in this.
Y creo que una de las maneras es haciendo lo que tú has hecho ahora, ¿no? Hablando de esto.
No, a very good way to go through this is talking about it, sharing.
Yeah, it's true.
Así que te agradezco y te felicito mucho.
Congratulations and thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to add to something that Randall said, Younghae, and actually it's a scripture that I had for you as you entered into this Symbiosis program. It's from Psalms, let me see, Psalm 84, am I right? Yeah, Psalm 84 verses 6 to 10. And it says that as you pass through the valley of weeping, you make it a place of springs. And the autumn rains also cover it with pools, and you go from strength to strength till till you appear before God. And I feel like, what Randall was saying, sometimes the place of weeping for us becomes a spring of refreshing for someone else. And God never wastes any of our tears. None of your tears will go to waste. Each one of them is kept in a bottle that's of remembrance, and He remembers all the tears that you've shed, and it's going to be meaningful for somebody else. You're going to show them how to process grief. And I, like I said before, I think that this is also very just like your parents have left a legacy for you, so now you leave a legacy for your children. And they have all these precious things to hold on to see your strength, your artistry, and how you are breaking barriers for yourself through very, very difficult times. So I just applaud you. I embrace you, for your courage and your bravery, and just yeah. And I'm also grateful for your friends, your newfound friends. Randall, Arlene, Juan and Nan. And it's quite interesting because when you all came together, I think you found that each one of you was struggling through some really difficult personal things. It was not because I knew, but maybe God knows, right? When He put you all together, and then it was just a very safe place for all of you, a very good safety net. So thanks for holding it all together, guys. Thank you, Randall. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Nan. Yeah, and Younghae. So yay, congrats.
Thank you.
You did it. Does anybody else want to ask questions or comment? I will remove the spotlight.
Can I say something to
Yes,
Younghae and
please.
to the group? Somehow we're under this misconception that the art of letters is about putting ink on paper and producing work. But what is so powerful about the mentorship program, Dorothy, your vision for it, how you sort of pair people up and know who needs to be with who, it's these people are very precious and they're going through such incredible things while they're trying to produce art and put art on paper. And one of the things, Younghae, that you said that I think just rings through to so many people, even as they come in and watch these on YouTube and come back and look at them, because you'll move on from this journey. You'll be at a different place. But something you said was so powerful with that picture of you that you didn't want to show, and you were, is this worthy of being seen? It is so worthy of being seen. It is so worthy what you shared. And so many people struggle with their own inadequacies. And I think that is the power of the mentorship program, is that it reaches in and it nurtures something out. And you did just an amazing job. I know you had an amazing group to work with. I'm so glad Randall stepped up and was a mentor for you. Because like you, I see so much inspiration in his work, but brilliant job, Younghae. Thank you for just being so vulnerable with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing, just to add maybe one last comment, is that we do our artwork. In this case, we're doing it in synergy. Most of the time, we're just at our drawing table. By the way, Younghae, my favorite picture was that early picture of you with you had your sleeves torn off, and you had you were sitting at your desk writing, and your hand was wrapped. It looked like you'd just come out of the boxing ring, and then you were writing beautiful calligraphy. That was. But I think we all don't understand, because you don't get the feedback of how the artwork touches people. You put this artwork out there, and most of the time you put your artwork out quite a bit on Instagram, and so you get likes and you get, but a lot of times when people see that, they'll never write you back and say, oh, this is how this affected me. And that presentation that you just made is, by the way, worthy of being presented, because even just from the comments of the few people that are on this call, you've touched people who have been like, well, I wasn't going to come on here, but I'm really glad I did. And so that whole process will touch people. So anyway, bravo, and a privilege to know you.
Thank you, Randall.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Becca says, I especially love how God has been in the center of these artworks. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability. Oh, thanks. Yeah. So,
Listening to my story and my journey.
yeah, great. I will send you the chat, Younghae, because there is so much love that's been poured out. So I think it will be encouragement to you. Okay, let's see. Okay, yes, thank you for your vulnerability and sharing your story. Kun, do you want to say something? I can see you're sitting so close to the camera.
Um, um, it's hard to say in English how to like cheer up people, but it's been beautiful and very impressive presentation, and I wish you get stronger every day. Fighting.
Thank you, Kun. Fighting, yes. Thank you, thank you. Okay, well, it's past the hour, so I think it's time to say goodbye to everyone. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you all so much. I'm so glad that you came.